What if everything we thought we knew about the world was only half the story? Hidden within ancient texts lies a tale so extraordinary, it challenges our understanding of humanity, divinity, and the very fabric of existence. Imagine a man who walked the earth for 365 years, only to be summoned by radiant beings and carried into the heavens. His name? Enoch. But this isn't just a story of ascension. It's a saga of rebellion, corruption, and redemption. Picture this: 200 angels descending to earth, abandoning their celestial duties, and teaching humans forbidden secrets, secrets that would change the course of history forever. From enchantments to astrology, metallurgy to warfare, these divine transgressors unleashed knowledge meant to remain hidden. And what followed? Chaos. Giants roamed the earth, consuming its resources and spreading violence. Humanity spiraled into godlessness, fornication, and destruction. Yet amidst the darkness, hope emerged. A righteous man named Noah, chosen to save humanity from an impending flood. But how did Enoch fit into all of this? What visions of judgment and renewal did he receive? And why does his prophecy still resonate today? This is more than a story. It's a revelation, a glimpse into the unseen forces shaping our world. If you're ready to uncover the truth behind the mysteries, stay with me. The journey begins now. What if I told you there was a man who lived for 365 years, not as a mere mortal bound by the constraints of time, but as someone chosen to witness the unseen realms of existence? This isn't the stuff of fantasy or folklore. It's the story of Enoch, a figure so enigmatic that his life has been whispered about in sacred texts and ancient traditions for millennia. Imagine, if you will, a man walking among us, living through centuries, observing humanity's triumphs and failures, until one day, everything changed. At the age of 365, Enoch experienced something no other human had before, a divine visitation that would alter the course of his existence forever. Picture this: 2 radiant beings descended from the heavens, their presence so luminous that it defied description. They weren't just messengers, they were harbingers of a higher calling. These celestial emissaries approached Enoch with an announcement that must have shaken him to his core. He had been chosen to ascend to heaven, leaving behind the earthly realm and stepping into the unknown. But what does it mean to be chosen? Was it reward, punishment, or something far greater? For Enoch, this wasn't merely an honor. It was a summons to bear witness to truths beyond human comprehension. As the radiant beings lifted him up, carrying him through the clouds, Enoch embarked on a journey that would take him to the first heaven. This wasn't just any ascent. It was a passage into the very fabric of creation itself. The air around him shimmered with divine energy, the kind that makes your soul tremble with awe. Can you imagine standing at the threshold of eternity, gazing upon wonders that defy logic and reason? In this moment, Enoch became more than a man. He became a bridge between worlds. His ascension wasn't just about leaving Earth behind. It was about gaining insight into the workings of the universe. He saw things most humans could never fathom: the mechanisms of the cosmos, the hierarchy of heavenly beings, and the delicate balance between order and chaos. It's said that during his time in the heavens, Enoch received visions of judgment, redemption, and the ultimate fate of humanity. These weren't passive observations. They were revelations meant to shape the destiny of mankind. Think about it. How would you feel if you were plucked from your ordinary life and thrust into a realm where every secret of existence was laid bare before you? Would you feel fear, wonder, or perhaps both? Enoch's experience forces us to confront our own place in the grand design. Are we mere spectators in this vast universe, or do we play a role in its unfolding drama? His story reminds us that sometimes the extraordinary breaks into the ordinary, and when it does, it demands our attention. Enoch's ascension also raises profound questions about faith, purpose, and the nature of divinity. Why was he chosen? What made him worthy of such an unparalleled journey? Perhaps it wasn't perfection, but perspective. Maybe Enoch's willingness to seek truth, even when it eluded others, set him apart. In a world often consumed by distractions and superficial pursuits, his story challenges us to look deeper, to strive for understanding, not just answers. As we delve further into Enoch's journey, remember this: his ascent wasn't the end of the story. It was only the beginning. It set the stage for revelations that would ripple across generations, shaping the course of history itself. So ask yourself, what truths might lie hidden in the heavens, waiting to be uncovered? And are you ready to follow the path that leads to them? Now, let us turn our attention to one of the most haunting and consequential chapters in Enoch's story: the transgression of the fallen angels. Imagine a world untouched by corruption, where humanity lived in relative harmony with nature and the divine order. But then, something extraordinary happened. A group of 200 angels, led by their leader Semjaza, descended from the heavens to earth. These were not ordinary beings. They were celestial guardians, entrusted with maintaining the balance between the spiritual and material realms. Yet, they chose to abandon their sacred duties, driven by desires that would unravel the very fabric of creation. What could have compelled these powerful beings to forsake their posts? According to ancient texts, it was love, or perhaps lust, that drew them down. They saw the daughters of men, beautiful and mortal, and became consumed by longing. Against all laws of heaven, they took human wives, binding themselves to earthly lives. Their union gave rise to offspring, unlike anything the world had ever seen. The Nephilim, giants who towered over humans, possessing both immense strength and insatiable appetites. These giants devoured resources at an alarming rate, leaving the land barren and its people desperate. Chaos spread like wildfire as violence and greed became the new norm. But the transgressions didn't stop there. The fallen angels didn't just bring physical destruction. They introduced forbidden knowledge that forever changed humanity. Under their tutelage, humans learned secrets never meant for mortal hands. Azazel taught warfare, weaponry, and metallurgy, enabling mankind to craft tools of destruction. Others instructed in sorcery, astrology, and enchantments, opening doors to powers beyond comprehension. What began as curiosity soon spiraled into corruption. Humanity, once innocent and guided by simplicity, now wielded knowledge without wisdom. The result? A descent into godlessness, fornication, and moral decay. This part of the story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about power and responsibility. Why did these angels, entrusted with such immense authority, succumb to temptation? Was it arrogance, loneliness, or rebellion against divine will? And what does this say about the dangers of unchecked ambition? Think about it. When we pursue knowledge or power without considering its consequences, aren't we mirroring the actions of the fallen angels? Their story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most noble intentions can lead to catastrophic outcomes if misused. The fallout from the angels' transgressions was nothing short of apocalyptic. The earth groaned under the weight of sin, unable to sustain the chaos unleashed upon it. Cries of suffering rose from every corner of the globe, reaching the ears of the archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel. Moved by compassion, they brought the plight of humanity before God, pleading for intervention. It was clear that justice had to be served, not only for the sake of humanity, but to restore the divine order that had been shattered. As we reflect on this chapter, consider the parallels to our own world. How often do we see advancements in technology, science, or industry lead to unintended consequences? The lessons of the fallen angels resonate deeply today, urging us to tread carefully when wielding knowledge and power. Are we using what we've been given to uplift or to destroy? Do we recognize the thin line between progress and peril? Ultimately, the story of the fallen angels isn't just about their downfall. It's about the ripple effects of their choices. Every action has consequences, and those consequences shape the course of history. As we move forward, keep this question in mind. How can we ensure that the knowledge we seek brings light rather than darkness? Because in the end, the difference lies not in the tools we possess, but in the hearts and minds of those who wield them. The corruption unleashed by the fallen angels and their offspring, the Nephilim, was unlike anything the world had ever seen. It wasn't just a gradual decline, it was a catastrophic unraveling, a descent into chaos that left no corner of creation untouched. Imagine a world where giants roamed the earth, towering over humanity with insatiable appetites. These beings consumed everything in their path: crops, livestock, even entire villages, leaving behind desolation and despair. Resources dwindled, ecosystems collapsed, and famine spread like a plague. The balance of nature, once harmonious, was shattered, replaced by an unrelenting cycle of destruction. But the physical devastation was only part of the story. The moral decay that followed was even more profound. Their destruction became inevitable, a necessary step to restore balance to the earth. Yet, even in this act of judgment, there is a lesson that resonates deeply with us today. Justice is not about vengeance. It is about restoring what has been broken. This chapter of Enoch's story forces us to grapple with the concept of accountability. The fallen angels were not ordinary beings. They were custodians of heaven, entrusted with immense power and responsibility. Yet, they chose to misuse their gifts, prioritizing personal desires over their sacred duties. Their downfall serves as a stark reminder that authority without accountability leads to ruin. It challenges us to reflect on our own roles in the world. Are we using our talents and resources to uplift others, or are we contributing to systems of harm? Do we wield influence with humility, or do we let pride blind us to the consequences of our actions? The judgment also highlights the interconnectedness of all creation. The sins of the fallen angels did not exist in isolation. They rippled outward, affecting every living thing. From the depletion of resources to the moral decay of humanity, the fallout was a testament to how individual choices can have far-reaching impacts. In our modern world, where environmental crises, social injustices, and technological advancements often collide, this message is more relevant than ever. Every decision we make, whether it's how we treat others, how we consume resources, or how we innovate, has the potential to either heal or harm. The question is, which path will we choose? Yet, amidst the severity of judgment, there is also grace. God's response was not solely punitive, it was restorative. He recognized the suffering of humanity and acted decisively to bring about renewal. This duality of justice and mercy offers us hope. It reminds us that even in the darkest moments, redemption is possible. But redemption requires action. It demands that we confront the sources of corruption and work toward healing. As we reflect on this chapter, consider the role of justice in your own life. How do you respond when you witness wrongdoing? Do you seek to address the root causes, or do you turn a blind eye? Judgment, whether divine or human, is not meant to instill fear, but to inspire transformation. It calls us to take responsibility for our actions and to strive for a world where righteousness prevails. Because ultimately, the story of heavenly judgment is not just about punishing the guilty. It's about paving the way for a brighter future. And that future begins with us. In the midst of chaos and corruption, a glimmer of hope emerged, a beacon that would guide humanity through its darkest hour. This hope came in the form of Noah, a man described as righteous, blameless, and steadfast in his devotion to God. But what made Noah stand out in a world consumed by sin? Why was he chosen to carry the weight of humanity's survival on his shoulders? The answer lies not just in his character, but in the divine plan revealed to Enoch. A plan that would cleanse the earth of its wickedness and restore it to its intended purpose. God's revelation to Enoch was both profound and sobering. He spoke of a great flood, a purifying torrent that would wash away the filth and corruption that had taken root in creation. It was not a decision made lightly. It was an act of divine justice, a necessary step to reset the balance of the world. Yet, within this judgment was also mercy. Humanity would not be extinguished entirely. Noah and his family were chosen to preserve life and ensure the continuation of God's covenant with mankind. Through Noah, righteousness would endure, and a new chapter in the story of creation would begin. Enoch's role in this unfolding drama was pivotal. Not only did he receive the vision of the coming flood, but he also blessed Noah's lineage, foretelling its destiny for greatness and moral integrity. Imagine the weight of such a prophecy, the knowledge that your descendants would carry the torch of righteousness in a world reborn. Enoch's blessing was more than words. It was a charge, a sacred responsibility passed down through generations. It reminded Noah, and reminds us today, that even in the face of overwhelming destruction, there is always a path forward, a chance to rebuild and renew. Noah's selection was no accident. He was a man who walked faithfully with God, someone who stood apart in a time when faithfulness was rare. His righteousness wasn't defined by perfection, but by consistency, by choosing, day after day, to live according to divine principles, even when surrounded by corruption. This aspect of Noah's story is deeply inspiring because it shows us that heroism isn't about grand gestures or extraordinary abilities. It's about ordinary people making extraordinary choices. It challenges us to ask ourselves, are we living lives of integrity, even when the world around us seems to reward compromise? The flood itself was a symbol of both destruction and renewal. It was a reminder that sometimes the old must be swept away to make room for the new. In our own lives, we often encounter moments that feel like floods, times of upheaval and loss that force us to confront what truly matters. These moments can be painful, even devastating, but they also hold the potential for transformation. Just as the flood cleansed the earth, so too can personal trials refine our character and deepen our faith. Noah's story also underscores the importance of preparation and obedience. When God instructed him to build the ark, Noah didn't question or hesitate. He acted with unwavering trust, even though the task must have seemed impossible. For years, he labored under the ridicule of others, constructing a vessel that would save not only his family, but also representatives of every living creature. This level of commitment inspires us to consider how we respond to divine guidance, or even to the quiet nudges of conscience in our own lives. Are we willing to take bold steps of faith, even when the road ahead is uncertain? Ultimately, Noah's role in the narrative is a testament to the enduring power of hope. The flood was not the end, it was a beginning. Through Noah, humanity was given a second chance, a chance to start anew, to learn from past mistakes, and to strive for a better future. As we reflect on this chapter, let us remember that redemption is always possible, no matter how dire the circumstances. Like Noah, we are called to be vessels of hope, carrying light into darkness and planting seeds of renewal wherever we go. Because in the end, the story of Noah isn't just about survival. It's about restoration, resilience, and the unshakable belief that goodness will prevail. The story of Noah doesn't begin with the flood. It begins with a moment of profound mystery and divine intervention, one that centers around Lamech, Noah's father. Imagine the scene. Lamech, a man living in a world consumed by corruption and chaos, finds himself standing before his newborn son. But this is no ordinary child. From the moment of his birth, Noah's presence is marked by something extraordinary. His appearance, his demeanor, even the very essence of his being seems unlike any other human. Questions swirl in Lamech's mind. Is this truly his son? Could it be possible that the child before him carries a destiny far greater than he could ever comprehend? In his uncertainty, Lamech turns to Enoch, not just as a prophet, but as a source of clarity and wisdom. Enoch, who had already ascended to the heavens and returned with visions of the future, was uniquely equipped to interpret the significance of Noah's birth. When Lamech approached him, seeking answers, Enoch delivered a message that would echo through generations. He assured Lamech that Noah was indeed his true son, born of flesh and blood, yet destined for greatness. More than that, Enoch revealed that Noah's arrival was not a coincidence. It was a divine appointment, a sign that hope had not been extinguished, even in a world drowning in sin. Enoch's prophecy went further, foretelling the coming judgment upon the earth. He spoke of a flood that would cleanse the land of its corruption, sparing only those who remained righteous. And at the heart of this prophecy stood Noah, a man chosen not because of his strength or power, but because of his potential to embody righteousness in a broken world. This revelation must have been both awe-inspiring and terrifying for Lamech. On one hand, he now understood the immense purpose behind his son's life. On the other, he bore the weight of knowing the trials that lay ahead. It was a burden no parent should have to carry, yet it also carried a promise. Through Noah, humanity would endure. This chapter of the story invites us to reflect on the nature of prophecy and its role in shaping our understanding of the future. Prophecies are not merely predictions, they are calls to action. They challenge us to see beyond the present moment, to recognize the seeds of what is to come, and to prepare accordingly. For Lamech, Enoch's words were not just reassurance. They were a charge to raise Noah with intentionality, to nurture the qualities that would make him worthy of his divine calling. It reminds us that every child born into this world carries potential, and it is our responsibility to help them fulfill it. But there's another layer to this narrative, one that speaks directly to our own lives. How often do we find ourselves questioning the significance of events or people around us? Like Lamech, we may look at someone or something and wonder if it holds deeper meaning. Are we quick to dismiss the extraordinary as ordinary, Or do we pause long enough to consider the possibilities? Enoch's role in explaining Noah's birth teaches us the value of seeking wisdom when faced with uncertainty. It challenges us to trust in the guidance of those who see farther than we do, whether they are spiritual leaders, mentors, or simply voices of reason in our lives. Moreover, this part of the story underscores the importance of legacy. Lamech's decision to believe Enoch's prophecy and raise Noah accordingly ensured that righteousness would continue through his lineage. It prompts us to ask, what kind of legacy are we building? Are we investing in the next generation, equipping them to face the challenges of their time? Or are we leaving them unprepared, weighed down by the mistakes of the past? Legacy is not just about passing down wealth or titles. It's about instilling values, resilience, and hope. As we delve deeper into this chapter, let us remember that extraordinary destinies often begin with ordinary moments. Noah's birth was miraculous not because of fanfare or spectacle, but because of the faithfulness of those who recognized its significance. In our own lives, we may encounter moments that seem small or insignificant, yet they hold within them the seeds of transformation. The question is, will we have the eyes to see them and the courage to act? Because sometimes the most profound changes in history start with a single life, a life like Noah's that becomes a beacon of hope in a darkened world. Enoch's final visions of the end of days are nothing short of awe-inspiring, a culmination of divine revelation that stretches beyond the boundaries of time and human understanding. These were not mere dreams or fleeting impressions. They were vivid, panoramic glimpses into the ultimate fate of creation. Imagine standing at the edge of eternity, witnessing the unraveling of history itself, the rise and fall of nations, the triumphs and tragedies of humanity, and the final reckoning when all things are brought to account. This was Enoch's experience, a journey through the corridors of prophecy that revealed both judgment and redemption on a cosmic scale. In these visions, Enoch saw the purification of the earth, not just as a one-time event like the flood, but as an ongoing process leading to the restoration of righteousness. He witnessed the final judgment, where every soul would stand before God, their deeds laid bare. The fallen angels, bound in chains of darkness since their rebellion, would face their ultimate condemnation. Their offspring, the Nephilim, long gone from the earth, would be remembered only as a cautionary tale of what happens when power is wielded without accountability. But amidst this reckoning, there was also hope, a promise that the earth would be renewed, its corruption cleansed, and its purpose restored. What makes these prophecies so compelling is their dual nature. They are both a warning and a promise. The warning is clear. Sin has consequences, and no corner of creation is immune to the ripple effects of rebellion against divine order. Yet the promise is equally profound. No matter how far humanity strays, redemption is always within reach. Enoch's visions remind us that God's plan is not one of destruction for destruction's sake, but of renewal. It is about creating a world where justice prevails, where peace reigns, and where truth becomes the foundation upon which everything else is built. Enoch's role in delivering these messages was monumental. He was not just a passive recipient of divine knowledge. He was tasked with ensuring that Noah's descendants, and by extension, all of humanity, would carry forward the lessons of righteousness. His prophecies became a blueprint for living in alignment with divine principles, urging future generations to reject the ways of the fallen angels and instead embrace wisdom, humility, and compassion. In many ways, Enoch's work didn't end with his ascension. It continues to resonate through the ages, shaping the moral and spiritual framework of countless lives. This part of the story forces us to confront our own place in the grand narrative of existence. If Enoch's visions are true, and if they point to a future where every action will be weighed and judged, what does that mean for how we live today? Are we building legacies rooted in integrity, or are we contributing to systems of harm? Do we prioritize short-term gains over long-term well-being, or do we strive to leave the world better than we found it? These questions are not abstract. They are deeply personal, demanding that we examine our choices and align them with higher values. Moreover, Enoch's prophecies challenge us to think beyond ourselves. They remind us that our actions don't exist in isolation. They affect others, often in ways we may never fully understand. Just as the sins of the fallen angels corrupted the earth, so too can our decisions have far-reaching consequences. But the inverse is also true. Acts of kindness, courage, and faithfulness can spark waves of positive change. We are called not just to survive, but to thrive, to become agents of restoration in a broken world. As we reflect on Enoch's final revelations, let us remember that the end of days is not merely a distant event. It is a call to action in the present. It urges us to live with intentionality, to seek justice, and to pursue peace. It challenges us to trust in the promise of renewal, even when the path seems uncertain. Because ultimately, the story of Enoch's prophecies is not about fear. It's about hope. It's about the belief that no matter how dark the night, dawn will break. And when it does, those who have chosen righteousness will shine like stars in the heavens, guiding others toward a brighter future. So, I leave you with this question. What kind of legacy will you leave behind? Will you be remembered as someone who turned away from the light, or as someone who carried it forward? The choice is yours, and the time to decide is now. As we come to the end of this journey, I can't help but reflect on how profoundly Enoch's story resonates with the human condition. It's a tale that mirrors our struggles, our capacity for both creation and destruction, our yearning for knowledge, and our constant search for redemption. What struck me most is how timeless these themes feel. The corruption brought by the fallen angels isn't just an ancient myth. It's a reflection of how power and forbidden knowledge can still lead humanity astray today. And yet, in the midst of chaos, there's always hope. Noah's righteousness reminds us that even when the world seems overwhelmed by darkness, one person's integrity can spark renewal. The key lesson here is twofold. First, knowledge without wisdom can be dangerous. The forbidden teachings given by the fallen angels weren't inherently evil, but their misuse led to catastrophic consequences. Second, justice and restoration are inevitable. Whether through divine judgment or natural cycles, balance will eventually be restored. These aren't just lessons from the past. They're warnings and promises for our present and future. So now, I leave you with this challenge. Question what you know. Are there areas in your life where unchecked ambition or hidden truths might be causing harm? Engage in thoughtful conversations about the stories that shape us. Dive deeper into these ancient texts or explore other myths that hold kernels of truth. Let curiosity guide you toward growth. If this narrative has sparked something within you, a question, a realization, or even doubt, I urge you to act on it. Share your thoughts, seek answers, and never stop exploring. Because in understanding the past, we find the tools to build a better tomorrow.